Hey, welcome back. Business 163, Personal Finance. And in this sixth video, we are looking at, a little bit different topic, but should be included when we talk about credit and debt. And as you already know from the title, we're talking about the topic of bankruptcy. Yes, when we talk about credit and debts, sometimes here in the United States, folks get over their head. And if you get over your head and you have so much debt and your circumstances are such that there's just no way to get out from under the burden of the debt you're carrying, the legal code provides for the declaration of personal bankruptcy. There's a couple different chapters in the tax code that allow that. Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. We'll discuss a little bit about what that means. But essentially, what is a bankruptcy? A bankruptcy is a way to get a fresh financial start. Sometimes things get to the point where it's just darn near impossible to dig yourself out. And so there is the provision to get a fresh start, get protection from your creditors, and get relief. But that relief does not come without consequences. And so we need to talk about that as well. What is bankruptcy? Bankruptcy is a court filing to allow an individual or married couple to get out from under burdensome consumer debt incurred for family, household, or personal purposes. Now, notice that's very specific, right? Because if we're talking about debt that was incurred for business purposes, that's a different type of bankruptcy. We're only in this module talking about your personal finances, right? And so for an individual or married couple, if you're really underwater financially and no other way out, you can go to court and declare bankruptcy. There are two chapters, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. You can see that. Chapter 7 is sort of the complete liquidation. Chapter 13 is a reorganization and commitment to a repayment plan to provide for a fresh financial start. There are key differences between these two different types of bankruptcies. We're not going to talk about them in detail in this course. This is not a course on the finer points of declaring bankruptcy. You should always consult a qualified, specialized attorney who specializes in bankruptcies before choosing which path to take. All right? Now, what debts typically get included in a bankruptcy? Well, if you're underwater with credit card bills, medical bills, utility bills, personal loans like payday loans and gym memberships, they will all get included, wrapped up in the bankruptcy. Those creditors are no longer able to hound you, to call you on the phone, to send you threatening letters. All that is stopped while the bankruptcy is being processed. And so it really does provide not only practical and financial relief, but emotional and relief from the stress of having these creditors hounding you for repayment. Right? It puts a stop to all those kinds of things. But not all debts get included in a bankruptcy. With certain types of filings, you will not get relief from, for instance, past due domestic support obligations like spousal or child support, back taxes owed, student loans owed, fines and penalties owed to the government. Again, this is something to be walked through with great care with an attorney, but you should know right off the top, not every type of debt gets wiped clean in a bankruptcy. Now, what are the consequences of declaring bankruptcy? Well, on the upside, you do get relief from your creditors. The debts that are included in the bankruptcy are wiped clean permanently. You no longer owe that to them, right? And so you really do, in a very practical way, get a financial fresh start. Now, this will affect your credit. It'll affect your credit report and your credit score, as we discussed in a previous video. A Chapter 13 bankruptcy, that's the reorganization version of the bankruptcy, is deleted from your credit report 7 years from the filing date, while a Chapter 7 takes 10 years to fall off of your credit report. You should know, by the way, that you actually don't have to appeal to the credit repositories. That happens automatically by law. They will drop off at those respective times. And while the bankruptcy is still on your credit report, it may be difficult, but not entirely impossible, to get new credit accounts, credit cards, an auto loan, a mortgage loan. you can still get specialized credit cards, but you will typically pay much higher interest rates for those credit cards than a typical credit card. You will probably still be able to find someone to give you an auto loan, but again, you will typically pay much higher interest rates for that auto loan. And if you do find a lender who is willing to extend you a mortgage loan to purchase a home, not only will you have higher interest rates, you will typically have to also put down a significantly larger down payment in order to secure that mortgage loan. So there are downsides and upsides to declaring bankruptcy. And we should tell you again, for some folks, right, they find themselves in a set of consequences, a set of context, in many ways perhaps not simply their own choices, consequences of their own choices. Sometimes things happen that we have no control over, and as a result, the only reasonable answer is to declare bankruptcy. We would never, ever suggest that choosing to declare bankruptcy is, some sort of negative connotation about someone's character or responsibility or something like that. Lots of things happen in life that can't be controlled, but we all have to realize once we go down the road of declaring bankruptcy, there are long-term consequences, as you can see from that last slide. And so it is never something to be contemplated except as a last resort. And even then, you want to make sure you carefully work through all of the implications with a qualified, specialized bankruptcy attorney. All right, so again, this is something that many times you don't like talking about, but it's necessary for us to include it in this module on credit and debt. This is our second to the last video, so we'll see you in the next and last video of the module.